Good evening, everyone. So, to start things off, let's set the mood. You're on a date in a nice, expensive, fancy restaurant with your significant other. So, you've ordered your food, you're waiting, so you start looking around in the crowd. You're looking, wonder why it's so quiet. And you notice they're all doing the exact same thing. So, you go to talk to your date about it. What are they doing? The same thing everyone else is doing. This. Oh, yeah. That's annoying, right? You don't know if they want to listen to you, if they even want to be there with you. It's rude, it ignores everyone else. I'm here to talk to you about cell phone overusage, some ways you can mitigate it, and how you can keep this from turning into a deadly addiction. So, I'll talk about 3 different scenarios. I'm going to talk about the worst offending places and activities that cell phone overusage happens in. And with each scenario, I'll talk about ways you can mitigate and stop it. Start things off, we'll talk about what we just went over, restaurants. So when you go to a restaurant, you go with your friends, you go with your family, you want to socialize, you want to get to know them, you want to get to know those around you, have them get to know more about you, show interest in them. But how can you do that when you're glued to your cell phone the whole time? Go to any restaurant, I guarantee most of the people in there will be glued to their cell phone, not talking to each other. What looks more unhappy if a couple's just sitting there staring at their cell phones, not talking to each other, eating away? It's sad. I mean, get to know those around you. Get to know your loved ones. Get to know your friends and family. Get off the cell phone. Some ways you can mitigate this. I mean, besides cold turkey, just turn it off, put it in your pocket, willpower, don't answer that thing. There's a game that's going around the internet right now that I thought was interesting. It has to do with messing with the money, which usually works. But friends, have everyone take your cell phone and put it on the table. Stack it on top of each other. And then through the entire meal, no matter how much is ringing, buzzing, playing that crazy disco song, don't answer. Why? Because the first one that answers it is going to have to pay for the entire meal. Yeah, like I said, you mess with the money and people are usually going to listen. I like that. It seems to work with my inner circle of friends. It gets us talking with each other because we're not glued to that screen. So next thing, I'll preface with the common saying that you've all heard. Don't ruin your movie. Don't ruin the movie by adding your own soundtrack. You've heard it. So movie theaters. Movie theaters, Broadway performances, any of that. The establishment, the theaters already have set rules and guidelines staring you right at the screen. Besides the employees and all the signs telling you to do it, they say, please silence all your cell phones. They don't even tell you to turn them off. They just tell you to silence them. Don't use them in the theater. If you need to make a call, step out. It's that simple. First-hand experience. We spent hundreds of dollars taking my wife to one of her favorite Broadway performances. It was Les Miserables. I can't pronounce it. I'm not French. But it was a great show, except for the crowd, who, besides having been told multiple times by the employees, by the people on stage, by the signs adorning the entire building, turn off cell phones, no cell phone usage inside the theater, dozens at any given time in the pitch black audience, were faces lit up by a little 4-inch screen staring them at the face. I know, right? Not only them, the lady directly in front of us would check her phone literally every 10 seconds for nothing. She would just open it, turn it on, check, turn it off. Open it, turn it on, check, turn it off. Every 10 seconds. No messages. She didn't talk to anyone once during the entire performance, except for the time someone confronted her and she said, okay, and then kept doing it. I know. It's rude. It ruins the experience for those around you. It's just plain inconsiderate. Follow the establishment's guidelines on this. Just put it away. Nothing's that important that they can't wait a couple hours for the movie to end or for a few hours for this play to end. Or if it really is that important, if it's life-threatening, step out. I mean, you're not going to be there for much longer anyway in that case, so step out and take the call. The next thing is life-threatening. This is deadly. This is all over the news. It's so deadly. States are making it illegal. Texting and driving. And generally texting while multitasking with anything. Anything dangerous. You could be walking, flying a plane, out there, I don't know, swimming, skateboarding. People do things and they do it while texting. If it's out there, they do it while texting. I'm not going to talk as much on the driving aspect because we all know that. But one example in particular, if you don't think texting walking this thing, listen to this. So I used to work in Kauffman Stadium, and we were down in the tunnels after a game. $1 million pitcher coming through with his team. Not going to say the team, wasn't the Royals. But he's coming through with his team, listening to his music, texting on his phone. He's just walking down the hallway. No one sees him doing this because the rest of his teammates are doing the same thing, just walking and texting. So he comes up at the end of the tunnel. Is a truck loading dock about 8 feet off the ground. And what does he do? What do you expect him to do? He's not paying attention. He walks right off the end, flat on his face. Teammates laugh at him. He gets up embarrassed. Tell the employees are laughing at him. $1 million athlete. Luckily, he wasn't injured. He could have been seriously injured. He could have been killed by that. It's not a big fall, but things happen. So you gotta be careful. You gotta pay attention to what you're doing. And if you're texting and calling while doing any of this stuff, you're not doing that. If it's that important, pull off to the side. Stop. Take the call. Make the text. Drive off to the side of the road. Park. Text. Put it away. Start driving again. It's not worth your life. It's not worth the lives of those around you. Your family, my family, I'm out there. If you're texting on your cell phone while driving, you're putting them all at risk. And that's an enemy to me. That's an enemy to everyone out there. So, today we talked about 3 different scenarios where you'll see the worst cell phone abuse out there. We talked about restaurants. We talked about how you can mitigate that by playing a simple game that threatens some people's money if they break it. We talked about movie theaters. The establishments say don't do it. They say put it away. They say turn it off. They say put it on silent. Just listen to the establishment and do it. Be courteous. And we talked about the deadly aspect. Texting and driving. Texting while multitasking with anything involving your utmost attention. I hope today that you can take away a little bit of insight to where I come from on this and why you should too. Why you should try to mitigate this. Learn something about your fellow man and your friends. Be courteous to those around you and save lives. It's not that important. It's just a phone. A conversation, it can wait a couple minutes, a couple hours, whatever it may be. It's not that important. So, thank you for listening, and good night.